Potter's Journal, September 2022. We're going to be looking back at August when I made garlic jars, more specifically their lids and the many frustrations. It started with maybe a special order for sugar and cream when somebody saw my heart creamers, but it started too, inspiration. Garlic entered in a local fair, county fair. So we'll look at what we got there as prizes in the end, talk about why we'd do fairs, maybe catch up with the weaver. But first, okay, vlogging for later. Somebody may have came here for business. Let's get down to it. And I'll talk first about making the lidded jars. I didn't use my kick wheel behind me, but after making 50 pots on it, this is important too, I went back to the electric wheel. A bigger pottery might have somebody throwing their production work, and they do, you know, the art pieces and some of it. So I'm going to divide up what I do on the electric wheel and the kick wheel. I found that after using this and doing the first 50 pots, it completely changed the way I felt and the way the pots came off of the electric wheel. I could feel the machineness of it. I could feel them happening more than I could in the past. Okay, making lidded jars, the lids and the frustrations. What a nuisance they are! Hey, I find myself here a little unexpected. Somebody liked the little heart-shaped cream pitchers, but they said they wanted one for salt too, and with a little hole in the lid to put a spoon. Then before the time was out, they said make one for sugar as well. So I made 6 so that I could get you know, at least a couple matching maybe out of the kiln. Now I've always done I did a few extra, thinking I'll do garlic jars too as well. Something that I haven't had luck with lately. When I first came back to pottery, I sold them because they were old and the forms weren't good. They were cheap, but as soon as I put the price up to where it should be, I quit buying them. So they're a nuisance to make. They're not really, I like making them, but yeah, they're not going to lower the price to sell more. So, but I think this may work. This started going really well. I ended up wedging more clay and did a board of 22 or 24 of them. So I think this they will like. They will like something at the lower price. However, you can't even fit a little garlic bulb in there. But still, I think it'll be a success. I think they'll sell. I think it's more something people buy for the idea of it. If you're putting your garlic in a jar, you're not really even using it. Okay, let's see what's going on in the studio today. You know, here here's how some of them will be glazed. I put a black slip on, so I only have to put one glaze over it, and a lot of them have the black slip. And then I put a few with the white slip that I'm a big fan of. Okay, and those will come out like this. And here's, okay, the ones I did before actually had a slip decoration, 2 glazes on, but we're trying to keep this simple. So the slip decorating when we made them, and 1 glaze over, okay, to keep it simple. And what a nuisance the lids are. I tried to get it a little bit narrower here and wider there just to start. And then, okay, make the handle for the lid. But this is not something. This is easier to make as the jars. I think it's more difficult making these little lids than the jars. Okay, so I'm getting the under part cut in there. And then I come down because I will make a lifting pad to get this off. And they're so small, it's hard to know how much clay, since it's not measured out. You're just guessing at all of this. So already I know it's a little bit too wide, so we will cut it off, but it's also too thick, so we'll be thinning it down to about the right thickness. I probably took off, hopefully, a little more than I need. And then I am bringing in and down the center, and the lip that will catch is a little bit taller because weight-wise, that'll bring the gravity down into the pot and not, make it a little bit harder for it to slip out. That was a little bit wider, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit more and make sure we've got the end round off nicely. And then to give it a clean cut, I will give it a little start with the needle, wire, and then the important part is the little lifting pad that not only means you can lift it off, but keeps the board from drying it out too fast, since these still will need cleaned on the bottom. Oh, now look at this. They don't fit. All 20 of them. What am I going to do? Got to go back and make them again? Well, it might not be that bad. I've been going, that one's a little bit loose. I've been going back and trying a few out. So I did get most of them here. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Now, this, and they both still need to dry. This needs to dry more than the other. But I checked the calipers. Yeah, I checked them 20 times. So my question is, you know, when you make a plate and it dries, clay memory folds it back up, and then I'll put mine back on the wheel and fold them down, because if you make them too far down, they just flop over on a dinner plate. But I'm wondering if, you know, these will only shrink straight in, whereas this shrinks, what way does this shrink? Does it shrink? Yeah, maybe it's pulled back into the body and out, I don't know. So there's a possibility too. That's, or did I just measure these things wrong? Okay, maybe I panicked too soon. It's only 1, 2 that don't really fit after I play with them. I make extra, and when I'm making them, I don't measure exact, because I know I'll come back in the end and play mix and match. Okay, if you click through and you miss this part, you're in trouble. But here's the thing. I remade the lids in the opposite direction. They still didn't fit. And I was trying to convince myself, if you noticed, when I was testing them and doing the mix and match thing, the lids were still very wet. So most of them did shrink to be way too small. I did manage in the end, but here is the thing. Do you see this ruler? Do you see this ruler? Who would think that a ruler wouldn't work, or that it would be broken? Okay, this end bit on a pull-out roller, the little grommets that hold it in are loose, and it shakes back and forth. So I had a measurement where it was off. Actually, I found another one. Same thing. So, okay. All the frustrations of lids. No wonder I put them off until the very last garlic jar was gone. No wonder I will put them off again on the next batch and the next time I do this. Everything's happening. The studio just unloaded a bisque, little garlic jars, cream and sugar things. Oh, in the end, I did manage to get the lids to fit. And also, just cut out of the kiln. Okay, pots are stacking up. Fall shows coming up. Okay, so these things are crazy. You gotta wax so the glaze doesn't stick. The inside of the lid. You have to wax. Okay, 2 edges of the lid. You have to turn it over. You have to wax the bottom. And don't forget, we had to make this. We had to make the lid. I had to make the lid twice because the roller wasn't... the roller, the end of the tape measure was not attached right. All these little holes you got to put in. You got to sand them off on the outside, on the inside. Oh, and you know, when we glaze these, the glaze is still going to stick a bit, so we're still going to have to go over with a sponge. In the next video, we'll pull these out of the kiln, but this is why you keep a potter's journal, so that you know that the opening is 2.5 inches. Now, I labeled the inside of this jar, the mistake ones. They're too small. I always keep a few in reserve in case I drop or break one. And this time I've got a jar that we will use up next time round. Now on to the fair. So I found some new old cabinets. Maybe I'll do my potter's kitchen up so we can get farther back on our shots and not always close-ups. This second fair, vegetables, I didn't take quite as many, but they had more categories for pottery. And the cake plate I didn't take. I thought they'd like the face jugs better. They did like, happily, my sgraffito signature slipware. Again, my onions always do well. And the face jug, just the thing for a county, community type fair. I used to take big pieces of sculpture, contemporary, and noticed that somehow it just kept pushed behind the door, almost as a doorstop. So this time I took something smaller, something with some recognizable fish, and this time it did hook a blue ribbon. Okay, as did the big wavy bowl we had all the trouble glazing in the last 2 videos. Okay, and why would a serious artist do a county or community fair? Well, how about this? It took me a while to get dragged into it. The weaver got me started. We'll catch up with her yet, but it might be different. I'm next to a big city. If you're in a small community, it may be different. If you're next to a big city, I had to be members of several groups, organizations, Society of Sculptors, the Craftsmen's Guild, Pittsburgh Society of Artists. It costs money to be juried into these shows, costs yearly dues to be in them. The one community gallery that we were able to show in, you had to be a member there, and then there's a jury fee to be juried into a show if you're juried in. Okay, the community fair, you get a check and you've entered. But it's more than that. You catch up with people you know, haven't seen for a while, the fun of it. And since this is a community fair that actually a lot of Pittsburgh comes out to see, because I've seen it advertised on Pittsburgh buses, it says to the visitors, this is what our local, deep in the woods community can do. Okay, we can do more than just glue popsicle sticks together. Okay, let's catch up with the weaver. So here we are down at the weaver's, where she takes 3 pieces through at a time. Now, what kind of basket is that?
Well, it's a rib basket, and it's woven with 3 different
Okay, layers. I've never seen anything like that. Is that common?
No, I've never seen it done on anybody.
And this patchwork quilt of old ties.
That's my pride.
Okay, and that is even on a stool. And you even put that together from 2x4s and
dowel rods.
And dowel rods.
It's a simple stool.
Okay. And we've never caught up with you on the loom.
Yeah, well, someday that will happen.
But you do with a lot of color. Some great stuff. And what is this little thing?
That's not the smallest I make, but that's the small one I entered.
So is it a basket, or is the pedestal part of it? It's a work of art.
Well, it's the basket only. I put it on a pedestal so they didn't lose it at the fairs.
Okay. Okay, so stop back next week and we will pull the garlic jars out of the kiln, and maybe the weaver will show us her garlic baskets.
Oh, yes.
Okay.